Good morning. Miss Henson misses my friends so much. I just wanted to get on here and tell you guys that I missed you and that I love you. And I'm so proud of the hard work that you guys are doing, working on Already and then on Epic Reading. I'm so proud. I love getting on every day and seeing who's been working and how hard you've worked and how well you're doing. And so I just wanted to get on here and tell you that. And I have the book Stone Fox, which was the book that we were going to read in class together. So I think that I might read this to you guys if that's okay and you want to listen. Okay, so I'm just going to read chapter 1 today, okay? So chapter 1, Stone Fox. This is the picture. Okay. Make sure you're listening, just like if we were at school. You need to be really listening, okay? Chapter 1 is called Grandfather. One day, Grandfather wouldn't get out of bed. He just lay there and stared at the ceiling and looked sad. At first, little Willie thought he was playing. Little Willie lived with his grandfather on a small potato farm in Wyoming. That's a state. It was hard work living on a potato farm, but it was also a lot of fun, especially when Grandfather felt like playing. Like the time Grandfather dressed up as a scarecrow out in the garden. It took little Willie an hour to catch on. Boy, did they laugh. Grandfather laughed so hard he cried. And when he cried, his beard filled up with tears. Grandfather always got up real early in the morning, so early that it was still dark outside. He would make a fire, then he would make breakfast and call little Willie. "Hurry up, or you'll be eaten with the chickens," he would say. Then he would throw his head back and laugh. Once little Willie went back to sleep. When he woke up, he found his plate out in the chicken coop. It was picked clean. He never slept late again after that. So boys and girls, a chicken coop is where chickens live. It's like a house that you build in your yard or on a farm where the chickens go in and live, and that's where they lay their eggs. So his grandfather put his plate in the chicken coop because he woke up too late for breakfast. So he never slept late again. That is, until this morning. For some reason, Grandfather had forgotten to call them. That's when little Willie discovered that Grandfather was still in bed. There could only be one explanation. Grandfather was playing. It was another trick. Or was it? "Get up, Grandfather," little Willie said. "I don't want to play anymore." But Grandfather didn't answer. Little Willie ran out of the house. A dog was sleeping on the front porch. "Come on, Searchlight," little Willie cried out. So Searchlight is the dog's name. "Come on, Searchlight," little Willie cried out. The dog jumped to his feet, and together they ran off down the road. Searchlight was a big black dog. She had a white spot on her forehead the size of a silver dollar. She was an old dog, actually born on the same day as little Willie, which was over 10 years ago. A mile down the road, they came to a small log cabin surrounded by tall trees. Doc Smith was sitting in a rocking chair under one of the trees reading a book. Sorry, guys. "Doc Smith," little Willie called out. He was out of breath. "Come quick." "What seems to be the matter, Willie?" the doctor asked, continuing to read. Doc Smith had snow-white long hair and wore a long black dress. Her skin was tan and her face was covered with wrinkles. "Grandfather won't answer me," little Willie said. "Probably just another trick," Doc Smith replied. "Nothing to worry about." "But he's still in bed." Doc Smith turned a page and continued to read. "How late did you two stay up last night?" "We went to bed early, real early. No singing or music or anything." Doc Smith stopped reading. Boys and girls, here's a picture. So this is Doc Smith. Here is Searchlight the dog, and this is little Willie. See her book she's reading? "Your grandfather went to bed without playing his harmonica?" she asked. Little Willie nodded. Doc Smith shut her book and stood up. "Hitch up Rex for me, Willie," she said. "I'll get my bag." Rex was Doc Smith's horse. He was a handsome horse. Little Willie hitched Rex to the wagon, and then they rode back to Grandfather's farm. Searchlight ran on ahead, leading the way and barking. Searchlight enjoyed a good run. Grandfather was just the same. He hadn't moved. Searchlight put her big front paws up on the bed and rested her head on Grandfather's chest. She licked his beard, which was full of tears. Doc Smith proceeded to examine Grandfather. She used just about everything in her little black bag. "What's that for?" little Willie asked. "What are you doing now?" So we see another picture. We see Doc Smith, Willie, Searchlight the dog, and we see Grandfather still laying in bed. Okay. So remember, before I showed you the picture, little Willie's asking all these questions. "What is that? What are you doing? What's that for?" "Must you ask so many questions?" Doc Smith said. "Grandfather says it's good to ask questions." Doc Smith pulled a long silver object from her doctor's bag. "What's that for?" little Willie asked. "Hush, be quiet." "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry." When Doc Smith had finished her examination, she put everything back into her little black bag. Then she walked over to the window and looked out at the field of potatoes. Remember, they're potato farmers. After a moment, she asked, "How's the crop this year, Willie?" "Grandfather says it's the best ever." Doc Smith rubbed her wrinkled face. "What's wrong with him?" little Willie asked. "Do you owe anybody money?" she asked. "No," little Willie answered. "What's wrong? Why won't you tell me what's wrong?" "That's just it," she said. "There's nothing wrong with him." "You mean he's not sick?" "Medically, he's as healthy as an ox." Remember, boys and girls, we've learned about ox and how strong they are, right? In our read-alouds, we learned that the oxen pull the buggies and the trailers and all of their goods when they were moving out west. So they're very strong. So when she says he's healthy as an ox, he is perfectly healthy. He's very strong. "He could live to be 100 if he wanted to." "I don't understand," little Willie said. Doc Smith took a deep breath. And then she began. "It happens when a person gives up on life for whatever reason. Starts up here in the mind first, and then it spreads out to the body. It's a real sickness, all right. And if there's no cure except in the person's own mind, I'm sorry, child, but it appears that your grandfather just doesn't want to live anymore. Little Willie was silent for a long time before he spoke. But what about fishing and the rodeo and turkey dinners? Doesn't he want to do those things anymore? Grandfather shut his eyes, and tears rolled down his cheeks and disappeared into his beard. I'm sure he does, Doc Smith said, putting her arm around little Willie. It must be something else. Little Willie stared at the floor. I'll find out. I'll find out what's wrong and make it better. You'll see. I'll make Grandfather want to live again. And Searchlight barked loudly. Okay, that's the end of chapter 1. So I hope that you were really listening. Now, Miss Henson might ask some questions after a few chapters just to see who's been listening. But that's all I'm going to read today. I just kind of wanted to get on here and send you a video talking to you because I miss you so much and read to you guys. I am very hard working on figuring out how to Zoom. You might have heard about Zoom. Your parents or grandparents or aunts might have heard about Zoom. But I am really trying to figure out how to work it so that we can all Zoom together. And as soon as I figure it out, I'm going to let you know, and we will be able to see each other on Zoom. And I'm hoping that we will be able to go back to school April 24th. Hoping. I'll be so sad if I don't get to see you soon on Zoom. So I'm going to figure that out. And for now, I just wanted to read you a chapter. I might get on here tomorrow and read another chapter and send it to you. But I think this is going to be a really good book. So for right now, Miss Henson just wants you to think about what you heard me read, and I want you to think about what do you think might be wrong with Grandfather, and what do you think that Searchlight and Willie are going to do to figure out what's wrong with Grandfather. Okay, remember this is the front of the book. So this is Searchlight with the white spot on his forehead that the book told us about. So be thinking about what do you think is going to happen in the next chapter. The next chapter is called Little Willie, and we will read that again another day. But I love you guys so much. Hugs. Hugs. I love you, and just know that I am missing you so much, and you are so loved, and I've not stopped thinking about you, and you are so smart, and you are so special, and you are so important, so loved. And I don't want you to forget that when we're not together, because you are. Okay. And so I will talk to you later. Bye, guys. Love you.